Hey, what's good, fam? It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on January 2nd, 2021, following Alabama's 31-14 victory over Notre Dame in the Rose Bowl. Here to provide some observations. Stick around towards the end of the video because I'm going to provide you my favorite photos of the Rose Bowl. Leading off, Alabama's win over Notre Dame will give Nick Saban a nice $200,000 bonus per his contract, right? He's at $750,000 in bonuses this year alone. I mean, a lot of that is also included because he was the SEC Coach of the Year. So things continue to roll for Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide, right? Now 12-0 this season. As for Notre Dame, check this out. Very interesting stat line right here. Notre Dame is now 0-7 in BCS or New Year's Six bowl games since 1998. They've been outscored by 161 points, with all 7 losses by at least 14 points. Now, following the game, Brian Kelly was pretty animated when asked about, is Notre Dame here? How does he feel about Notre Dame continuing to, be beaten and be beaten badly? And Brian Kelly didn't want to buy into that narrative, but let's face it. I mean, Notre Dame was not in this game. I don't know. I mean, everybody watched that game last night. I mean, did you ever feel that Notre Dame was really in this game? I felt that Alabama didn't play their best game. Notre Dame didn't play their best game either, but there was never a point where I felt that Notre Dame was really in this game. Here's that soundbite from Brian Kelly following the game.
You guys watched the game, didn't you? They made plays on the perimeter. They made some dynamic plays. They have the College Football Player of the Year who made some dynamic plays. We battled. We were right there. So we're going to keep getting back here. And I'm sorry if you don't like it, or if the national media doesn't like it.
All right, moving on. Let's just highlight Najee Harris and what he's done for Alabama since arriving in 2017 with that ridiculous class, right? 612 rushes, 3,700 yards. That's a school record. 6.1 yards per carry. 44 rushing touchdowns, surpassing Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram, who held that record before him. I mean, overall, it's pretty amazing what Najee Harris has done at Alabama. I'm going to miss watching the kid. The hurdle that he had went round the world, broke the internet. And check this out. The leap goes long. On the third carry of the game, Najee Harris ran and leaped over a defender for a career-best 53-yard long rush. His previous was 42 yards against Kentucky when he ran for a touchdown. The leap was basically a living Daniel Moore print, right? I mean, nobody does it better than Najee. I mean, at one point in the first quarter, he had 3 rushes for 79 yards. Yeah, Najee Harris finished the game against Notre Dame with 15 rushes for 125 yards, completely balling out, right? Following the game, Devontae Smith, Mac Jones, Chris Owens, Miller Forristall, each of the players are asked about Najee's hurdle. Here's what they had to say. Great soundbite right here.
What was your reaction on Najee's hurdle?
We'll start with Miller and come down the table.
I don't know why I'm surprised every time he does it, because I've been seeing it for 3 years, but it's still, you're just like, geez. I play with some really good players, and I'm thankful.
Yeah, I mean, like Miller said, he's been doing that for years, so at this point, it's just kind of what he does, and he makes plays, so that's what he does.
Just like they said, we expect it from him. He's athletic. He can get a lot of things done. So when he did it, my first thought was just go chase the ball, get ready for the next play, because he's going to run for a long time.
Go chase the ball like that.
That's what he do on the regular, so that's just something that we see normally.
All right, let's highlight this duo, Devontae Smith and Najee Harris. All right, Devontae Smith has been the Tide's leading receiver this season, as you know, with 105 catches. 20 of those have been for a touchdown. And as you know, he's also returned a punt, and he's also rushed for a touchdown. The season that he's had, right, for Smitty. Harris has paced Alabama rushers with 229 carries for 24 rushing touchdowns. And he also has 3 additional touchdowns, which came in the SEC championship game. Guys, 27 touchdowns. So you look at what Devontae Smith and Najee Harris have provided for this Alabama offense in terms of production, in terms of leadership, in terms of big playmakers stepping up in big-time games. Smitty and Najee doing work. Let's not forget about Mac Jones either, right? The signal caller threw for 4 touchdowns against Notre Dame to total 36 touchdowns on the season, right? 36 touchdowns ranks as the second most in a single season in program history. Only Tua Tagovailoa has thrown for more touchdowns for Alabama in a single season, with 43 in 2018. Against Notre Dame, Mac Jones was 25 of 30, 297 yards with 4 touchdowns. As mentioned, the efficiency from Mac Jones is really incredible. And I talk about this all the time. I think a lot of that is because Mac Jones has worked on his craft, right? But also it has a lot to do with Steve Sarkisian and the schematics of how the offense works. You have this very balanced approach, but you don't see Mac Jones taking too many deep shots downfield, right? You see kind of a more methodical approach from Mac Jones, and he's very accurate. And credit to him for continuing to work. I watched the ESPN video before the game and kind of just listed all his goals. So I'm really happy to see him work hard and to see everything come his way because he certainly worked for it. All right, let's look at the defense real quick. DeMarco Hellams all over the field last night at that safety position, had 12 tackles, which led the team. Christian Barmore was the highest graded out player on Pro Football Focus with a grade of 91.9. He had 4 tackles and 1 sack against Notre Dame. Turnovers. Alabama's defense forced a turnover against Notre Dame. You saw it when Christian Harris recorded his first career interception, and that interception has it tied with at least 1 turnover in 78 of the last 84 contests dating back to the start of the 2015 season. You know, turnovers will be a big factor in this championship game against Ohio State. We'll dive into that matchup, leading into these next couple of days, but you're going to need playmakers. Christian Harris has been playing fantastic this season overall. Remember, he's just a sophomore, and this guy comes to play. He had 5 tackles and 1 interception against Notre Dame, and you want guys to continue to rise up. I look to Christian Harris as a guy that is an impact player. Let's spotlight the special teams real quick. Will Reichard, 14 in a row. Dating back to last season, place kicker Will Reichard has made 14 straight field goals, including all 13 attempts in 2020. How nice is that, right? The 2020 year was ridiculous, but what Will Reichard did, and we're going to talk about Alabama in just a second, but it's so nice to see a field goal kicker just get up there, have that confidence, have that swag, and knock down field goal after field goal. Being 13 for 13 is a tremendous feat. So credit to Will Reichard for continuing to ball out, doing a fantastic job. Real quick, injury note on Malachi Moore following the game. As you know, Malachi Moore did not play, and this is from Nick Saban. Malachi Moore is day-to-day. Saban said he injured himself a little bit against Florida. He was able to practice on and off, and he wasn't able to go today. So we'll keep you updated on Malachi Moore. From what we gather, it doesn't look like it's going to be anything to hold him out of the championship game. I think he just needs more rest. And we'll keep you posted on Jalen Waddle. We posted another sighting at the Rose Bowl. And look, if Jalen Waddle is going to play in this game, that would be fantastic. But I think if Nick Saban is going to keep any aces in the hole, it's going to be that one. It's probably going to be some sort of a game time decision, if that. So we'll keep you posted on Jalen Waddle. Let's kind of look at 2020, the season overall, because as crazy as the year was, the one thing that stayed consistent was Alabama's dominance in college football. 12-0 at this point, 11-0 against SEC teams. The first team in NCAA history with a wide receiver and a running back with over 20 touchdowns each. First time Alabama has won the AP National College Football Player of the Year. That's incredible. The most first-team All-Americans in Bama history. I think that was 6. They had the SEC Player of the Year. They had the SEC Coach of the Year. First Alabama quarterback Mac Jones to pass for over 4,000 yards. And look what Devontae Smith has done, right? Breaking almost every single record, has over 105 receptions this year. And just as we talked about with Will Reichard, a kicker who has been fantastic this season. So, as strange as 2020 was, things continue to stay the same at Alabama. Well, fam, we hope you enjoyed this video presentation. Be sure to hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. We appreciate you guys. We're going to Miami for the national championship between Alabama and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Full coverage to come back on BamaInsider.com.